world is becoming in a constant and accelerating wheel, and this we must keep pace with it as much as possible, otherwise we will remain in our place unable to adapt to what is going on around us. And many opportunities that God has given us in our unused creative abilities, which can change our lives for the better, will be lost on us. The successful individual seeks automatic growth, change, and renewal through self-development. What does it mean for the individual to develop himself? It is for the individual to follow a policy in which he works to develop his skills, ideas, behavior, work, and spirit, and to transfer his condition to a better state than it is. And also to ensure the abandonment of negative and bad habits that impede the process of development. Self-development includes the development of the mind, the soul, and the spirit, which makes the individual feel satisfied and distinguished, because of the change he has achieved. Whether by acquiring a useful new or abandoning a bad old, which helps him define his goals in life and achieve them, and prepares him to deal with any problem facing him professionally. The science of self-development has become one of the sciences of the flourishing human development in our era, because it has a strong impact on the personality of the individual. So he learns how to control himself, and his reactions with proper and balanced management. It also introduces the individual to his distinctive creative abilities from others, and how to invest them in the manner that achieves his goals, and makes him able to make decisions and make it. Define his goals, where to start and where to aim, as well as make him able to manage and organize his time and set his priorities, how to think in a positive way, and give up negative thinking. In outlook of things, the first step for the individual self-development is for the individual to love and feel the importance of himself, so that he seeks to transfer it to a better condition. Otherwise his place will remain or in a state of decline, for the individual is his foundation that he is today, and what the individual gives to himself remains and benefits him later. But if he decides to stick to a certain lifestyle, and he will be bored, frustrated, hopeless and inactive. The very individual is his land in which he must plant everything that is useful, and get rid of everything that is harmful in order to reap the fruits of this change later. The second step is for the individual to define his goals in life, and this makes him feel the importance of his presence in this life, otherwise his life will be in vain. And it may be confused by problems from all sides. As for the third step, the individual must awaken his gigantic energy and capabilities, and detonate them, for God Almighty created us in the best condition, and deposited in us all enormous energies and potential capabilities. And there are others who did not even try to recognize their capabilities, so they disrupted their lives, marginalized themselves, and became a burden on life. And others knew their energies but did not seek to stimulate them, or they took them on the wrong path, and lost many opportunities. How does the individual know his energies and abilities? The individual must first identify his strengths and weaknesses in all areas, so as not to define himself and link them in a specific field. And to know everything around him again and not be limited to a specific field. Rather, it gives himself opportunities in several areas, in order to allow him to know more about the extent of his capabilities, so that he can define later what his desires are. After the individual is more aware of his desires and abilities, he begins to develop them gradually, and in a logical and smooth manner, so that he does not fall into dispersion. During this stage, the individual must also try to get rid of his negatives that hinder his development, for example, lack of confidence, urgency, lack of confidence in others, or excessive confidence in others, and the many other things that reduce one's creativity. After achieving all of this, the individual must display several matters that help him in development and development. For example, he has a solid will and a strong hidden desire that drives him to work under all circumstances. The will may be weak and specific, and there is no incentive to push it forward. The individual must pay attention to this matter, and address it, otherwise it remains status. He also has to have the skill of time management, and the skill of communicating with others, which are very inspiring and important skills. Now comes the stage of pursuing goals with the available means, and inventing other means that help him achieve the goal. Then comes the stage of continuity, communication, and development in the goal area. After achieving all of this, the individual will feel the pleasure of achievement and achieving the goal, feel the importance of himself, and automatically begin to develop from one stage